The afternoon sun painted golden streaks across the marble floors of Bennett Tower as Maya Richardson stepped out of the elevator on the 42nd floor. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched the insulated lunch bag grilled chicken, roasted asparagus, and homemade honey rolls, her husband David's favorites. At 7 months pregnant, every movement felt deliberate, careful. She dressed in a flowing blue dress that accommodated her growing belly, wanting to look beautiful for him despite feeling exhausted. They'd been married for 4 years, and lately, David had become a stranger. Late nights at the office, canceled dinners, cold responses to her texts. But Maya believed in their vows, believed that their baby girl Grace, they'd already named her, would bring them back together. She'd even tucked a tiny pink onesie into the bag that read, "Daddy's Princess," as a surprise. The receptionist's smile faltered when she saw Maya. "Mrs. Bennett, we weren't expecting you. I wanted to surprise David with lunch," Maya said warmly, already moving toward his corner office. "Is he available?" "Wait, But Maya had already opened the door. The scene before her felt like falling through ice. David stood beside his desk, his arms wrapped around a tall woman with platinum blonde hair cascading down her back. The woman wore a designer suit that probably cost more than Maya's car, and her red lips were inches from David's. His hand rested possessively on the woman's waist. They weren't just standing close. They were intimate, familiar, comfortable. The lunch bag slipped from Maya's fingers, hitting the floor with a soft thud. "David." Her voice came out as barely a whisper, but it shattered the moment. David jerked away from the woman, his face cycling through shock, guilt, and then something Maya had never seen before: cold calculation. The blonde woman turned, her ice blue eyes scanning Maya with undisguised contempt. This was Victoria Cross, David's business partner, the woman he'd mentioned casually over the past year. Maya had never met her, but she'd seen her in photos, always hovering near David at corporate events, always standing just a bit too close. "Wow," Victoria said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "This is unfortunate timing." Maya's hands instinctively moved to protect her belly as Grace kicked hard, as if sensing her mother's distress. "David, what is this?" "Maya, you shouldn't be here." His voice was flat, emotionless, as if she were an unwelcome interruption rather than his pregnant wife. "Shouldn't be here?" Maya's voice cracked. "I'm your wife. I came to bring you lunch, and I find you with her?" Victoria laughed, a sharp, cruel sound that echoed off the glass walls. "Oh, honey, you really didn't know?" How pathetically oblivious. She turned to David with a smirk. "I told you she was clueless." Maya felt tears burning her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "David, tell me this isn't what it looks like. Please." For a brief moment, she thought she saw something flicker in his eyes, maybe remorse, maybe the memory of the man who'd once promised to love her forever. But it vanished quickly. "Maya, go home. We'll discuss this later." "Discuss this later?" The anger finally broke through her shock. "You're with another woman, and you want me to just leave?" Victoria stepped forward, her expression twisted with malice. "He doesn't want you anymore. Can't you see that? Look at yourself swollen, waddling around like you can barely move. You're embarrassing. David needs a real woman, not some—" "Don't you dare," Maya cut her off, her voice steady despite the tears now streaming down her face. "You don't get to talk to me like that." She turned to David, searching his face for any sign of the man she'd married. "How could you do this to us? We're having a baby together." David sighed, as if the entire situation was merely tedious. "Maya, don't be so dramatic. Yes, Victoria and I have been seeing each other. Yes, I should have told you. But these things happen. People grow apart. People grow apart?" Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. "We're married. I'm carrying your child." Victoria moved closer, her expensive perfume overwhelming. Let me make this simple for you. David doesn't love you. He hasn't for a long time. You were convenient, a sweet little accessory when he needed one. But he loves me. And unlike you, I can actually give him what he wants. Maya's world tilted. She backed toward the door, her hand reaching for support. I want a divorce. Fine, David said coldly. My lawyers will contact you. The casualness of his response broke something deep inside Maya. She turned to leave, vision blurred with tears, when Victoria's voice stopped her. Oh, and Maya, that baby you're carrying isn't as special as you think. I'm pregnant 10 weeks along. So your little Grace won't be Daddy's only princess after all. The words hit Maya like a physical blow. She stumbled backward, her hand gripping the doorframe for balance. The room spun. She felt Victoria's presence behind her, felt the woman's breath on her neck. You look unsteady, Victoria whispered with cruel satisfaction. Maybe you should. And then Victoria's hand shot out, shoving Maya hard in the chest. Already off balance, Maya fell backward through the open doorway. Her arms flailed, reaching for anything to break her fall, but found only empty air. Behind David's office was a decorative floating staircase. Beautiful, modern, and utterly unforgiving. Maya's body hit the first marble step. Then the second. Then the third. Pain exploded through her back, her shoulder, her hip. She tried desperately to curl around her belly, to protect Grace, but momentum carried her down, down, down. The world became a kaleidoscope of agony and terror. Somewhere above her, she heard someone scream. The last thing Maya saw before darkness claimed her was David's face in his office doorway watching. Calculating, doing nothing to help. The steady beeping of hospital monitors pulled Maya back to consciousness. Fluorescent lights burned her eyes. Every muscle in her body screamed with pain, but only one thing mattered. Her hands flew to her belly. Grace, she whispered desperately. My baby. A nurse with warm brown skin and kind eyes appeared at her side. Mrs. Bennett, try to stay calm. You've had quite a fall. My baby is my baby, okay? The doctor is coming to speak with you now, the nurse said gently. But I can tell you, we've been monitoring the baby's heartbeat, and it's strong. Relief crashed through Maya, followed immediately by rage. Victoria had pushed her deliberately. David had watched. They'd endangered Grace's life, and for what? Money? Convenience? Pure cruelty? The door burst open, and 3 men rushed in her brothers. Their faces identical masks of fury and concern. Marcus, the oldest at 39, still wore his surgical scrubs from the hospital where he worked as a cardiovascular surgeon. Elijah, 36, had paint stains on his hands from his art gallery. Tyler, her baby brother at 33, wore his police detective's badge clipped to his belt. Maya, Marcus reached her first, his dark eyes scanning for injuries. Who did this to you? And that's when Maya started to cry deep, soul-wrenching sobs that shook her entire body. Because she'd been so blind. Because the man she'd loved had stood by while his mistress tried to kill their baby. Because her marriage had been a lie. But looking at her brothers' faces, seeing their love and their protective rage, she felt something else stir beneath the pain. Determination. Strength. The knowledge that she wasn't alone. Dr. Patel, a compassionate woman in her 50s, entered with Maya's chart. Mrs. Bennett, your daughter is fine. Strong heartbeat, no signs of distress. You were incredibly lucky. Lucky? Tyler's voice was sharp. Our sister was pushed down a flight of stairs while 7 months pregnant. That's not luck. That's attempted murder. Dr. Patel's expression hardened. I'm putting you on strict bed rest for the remainder of your pregnancy. Another incident like this could be catastrophic. She won't be alone, Marcus said firmly. She's moving in with me. Full medical staff, 24-hour security. She's not going anywhere near her husband or that woman again. Pushed? Elijah had been pacing, but now he stopped. Someone actually pushed you? Maya nodded, her hands trembling. David's mistress. Victoria Cross. She shoved me right in front of him, and he just watched. He didn't try to help. Afterward, I think he destroyed the security footage. The silence that followed was terrifying. Then Tyler spoke, his detective's voice eerily calm. Tell us everything. Every single detail. So Maya did. She told them about finding David with Victoria, about the cruelty in the woman's words, about learning Victoria was pregnant too or claimed to be. She told them about the push, the fall, the terror of tumbling down those marble steps. She told them about David's cold expression, his calculated inaction with each word. She watched her brothers transform from concerned family into something far more dangerous. Marcus pulled out his phone. I'm calling our lawyers. All of them. I'm getting security footage from every camera near that building, Tyler added. Traffic cameras, surveillance systems, everything. Elijah was already on his tablet. I'm pulling David's financial records. Rich men always leave paper trails. A young police officer entered, introducing himself as Officer Chun. Over the next hour, Maya recounted her story again for the official record. When she described Victoria pushing her, Officer Chun's expression grew grave. Did anyone witness this? His secretary was outside. Patricia. She might have seen something. Officer Chun's face suggested he'd already spoken to David and Victoria. Mrs. Bennett, I need to be honest. Your husband and Miss Cross are claiming you fell accidentally. They say you were upset and lost your balance. That's a lie. Maya's heart raced, making the monitors beep frantically. She pushed me deliberately. I believe you, Officer Chun said quietly. But without witnesses willing to testify, this becomes difficult to prosecute. Bennett Industries is already claiming their internal security footage malfunctioned. Convenient, Elijah muttered darkly. After Officer Chen left, Tyler made a call. Minutes later, he put his phone on speaker. We accessed traffic camera footage from across the street. The angle shows into the building's executive floor through the glass walls. They crowded around Tyler's phone as he opened the files. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. They watched Maya enter the building, watched the timestamp tick forward, watched through the glass walls as figures moved in David's office. Tyler enhanced the image. They saw Maya at the doorway, saw David and Victoria together, saw Maya stumble backward, and saw Victoria's hand extended, clearly having just made contact with Maya's chest. Saw David standing motionless as his pregnant wife fell. Got you, Elijah breathed. But what happened next made Maya's blood run cold. After she'd fallen out of view, David pulled out his phone and made a call. Minutes later, a security guard appeared. David pointed toward where the internal cameras were mounted. The guard left and returned with what looked like a hard drive. He destroyed the evidence, Marcus said, his voice hollow. He knew what Victoria did, and he actively covered it up. Maya felt something inside her shatter and reform harder, colder, stronger. David hadn't just betrayed her. He'd endangered their child and then worked to hide the crime. What do we do now? She asked, surprised by the steadiness in her own voice. Marcus smiled, and it wasn't kind. First, we get you healthy and safe. Second, we secure this footage legally. Third, we build a case so strong David can't escape with all the lawyers in New York. He looked at his brothers, some silent communication passing between them. Fourth, we make sure David Bennett regrets the day he ever hurt our sister. Marcus's penthouse occupied the top floor of a luxury building in Tribeca. He transformed the entire second level into a medical recovery suite for Maya, adjustable hospital bed dressed in soft linens, monitoring equipment disguised as elegant furniture, and a private nurse on call 24 hours a day. This is too much, Maya protested as Marcus helped her settle into the bed. You need exactly this, Marcus replied firmly. You were pushed down a flight of stairs while 7 months pregnant. You're staying here where I know you're safe. Tyler arrived hours later with rolling suitcases. Got everything from your apartment. Clothes, jewelry, photo albums. Your laptop and files too. He handed her a folder. I also found these in David's home office. He had a pathetically obvious hiding spot. Your wedding date as the combination. Maya flipped through bank statements and receipts. Hotel charges at the plaza, the Four Seasons nights when David claimed he was working late. Jewelry purchases from Cartier and Tiffany that she'd never received. Flight receipts to Paris and Dubai for trips she'd never taken. He's been with her for over a year, Maya said numbly. Maybe longer. Elijah entered carrying his laptop. I hired a forensic accountant and got preliminary results. David's been moving money, lots of it. Transferring funds from your joint accounts to offshore holdings. How much? So far, about $14 million. And that's just what we found in a few hours. Maya's hands trembled. David wasn't just a cheater. He was a thief, stealing from her while she slept beside him, while she carried his child. Document everything, she said, her voice hard. Every transfer, every account, every penny. I want it all ready for divorce lawyers. Tyler pulled out another folder. Speaking of lawyers, I contacted someone. Rebecca Morrison, brilliant, young, fearless. She's destroyed wealthy husbands who thought they were untouchable. She can meet tomorrow if you're ready. I'm ready, Maya said. More than ready. That night, lying in the enormous bed while Grace kicked steadily beneath her ribs, Maya's phone buzzed. A text from David. We need to talk. You're overreacting. Come home and we'll work this out. She stared at the message in disbelief. Overreacting. As if finding your husband with his pregnant mistress was just a minor inconvenience. As if being assaulted and nearly losing your baby was dramatic. She typed back. Your mistress pushed me downstairs while you watched. My lawyers will contact you. Don't text me again. She blocked his number before he could respond. Another text came from an unknown number. You're making a mistake. David can give you everything. Don't throw away your marriage over one mistake. Victoria. Somehow she'd gotten Maya's number. Another message. I'm pregnant too, remember. Our children will be siblings. Think about what's best for them. Maya's finger hovered over the delete button. But Tyler's words echoed in her mind. Save everything. She screenshotted the messages and forwarded them to Tyler with a note. Victoria's harassing me. More evidence. Tyler's response was immediate. Saved. Block the number. This shows continued harassment after assault. Excellent for our case. Rebecca Morrison arrived the next morning, a woman in her early 40s with sharp eyes and an air of absolute confidence. She settled into a chair beside Maya's bed, pulled out a legal pad and voice recorder. Mrs. Bennett, I've reviewed preliminary materials. This is strong, but I need to hear everything directly from you, starting from the beginning. For 2 hours, Maya recounted her entire marriage. How David had swept her off her feet at a charity gala 5 years ago. Their lavish wedding. The gradual changes, late nights, distance, coldness. The devastating discovery of the affair. The push. The fall. David's role in covering it up. Did you work during your marriage? Rebecca asked. I was an event coordinator. Had my own small business. But David suggested I step back after we married, said he wanted me to focus on starting a family, that we didn't need my income. So I sold my business. For how much? $180,000. It went into our joint savings. Rebecca's eyebrow raised. And you have documentation? Yes. Why? Because if David's been taking money from those joint accounts without your knowledge, he's been stealing from you. That money you brought into the marriage is yours. If he took it, that's theft. Elijah spoke up from where he'd been working on his laptop. Rebecca, the forensic accountant, found something. David's been systematically transferring money to offshore accounts, started small, but over the course of their marriage, he's moved over $16 million. Maya felt dizzy. I had no idea we even had that much. You didn't, Elijah explained. David's been earning through Bennett Industries and routing it through your joint accounts before moving it offshore. He was using your accounts to hide income while simultaneously stealing from you. Rebecca typed rapidly on her phone. I'm contacting a federal prosecutor. This isn't just divorce territory anymore. This is tax fraud and money laundering. David Bennett could face criminal charges. Tyler entered carrying boxes. Investigators delivered their preliminary report on Victoria Cross. He began pulling out files. Born Victoria Rodriguez in Miami, changed her name at 18. She has a pattern to previous relationships with wealthy married men. One ended in a messy divorce, the other in a restraining order. She's a professional homewrecker, Elijah said bluntly. Tyler pulled out more papers. Here's the interesting part. Our investigator accessed her medical records. Don't ask how. Victoria is not actually pregnant. She had a procedure done 3 weeks ago. Voluntary termination. The room went silent. But she told me she was pregnant, Maya whispered. She told David ... Insurance, Rebecca said slowly. If she claimed to be pregnant with David's child, she'd have leverage. He couldn't discard her easily. She probably planned to actually get pregnant later and claim it was the same pregnancy. Which means when she pushed Maya, Marcus added, his voice dark, she wasn't protecting her own pregnancy. She was trying to eliminate Maya's. Your baby is David's only child, his heir. If anything had happened to you or Grace, Victoria could position herself as his only option for a family. The calculated cruelty took Maya's breath away. Victoria hadn't just been cruel or jealous. She'd been strategic, trying to eliminate competition for David's fortune. There's more, Tyler continued. Bennett Industries isn't as solid as it appears. David's been cooking the books, inflating property values, hiding debts, misrepresenting returns to investors. If this became public, the company would collapse. Rebecca was taking notes furiously. So David's running a house of cards. The company's failing. He's been stealing to maintain his lifestyle. And Victoria planned to parachute out with a baby and settlement. When Maya threatened divorce, he panicked financial disclosure would expose everything. What's our strategy? Maya asked. We expose everything, Rebecca said firmly. File for divorce with full financial disclosure requirements. Submit evidence of fraud to the SEC and FBI. Hold a press conference and tell the world exactly who David Bennett is. Make sure Victoria is charged for the assault and conspiracy. Take everything from him, his company, his assets, his freedom. Maya looked at her brothers, then at Rebecca. Let's do it. All of it. The morning of the scheduled press conference, Maya woke at 6 to a sharp, cramping sensation that stole her breath. For a moment, she lay confused, her mind foggy. Then she felt the warm wetness. Marcus! She screamed. Marcus, the baby's coming. Her brother burst through the door within seconds, still in pajama pants. What? No, you're only 32 weeks. Tell that to Grace. Another contraction gripped her, and Maya gasped. Call Dr. Patel. Call her now. The next hour was controlled chaos. The private nurse took vitals and timed contractions. Marcus called Dr. Patel, who ordered an immediate ambulance. Tyler and Elijah arrived within 20 minutes, both looking panicked despite their attempts to appear calm. This is my fault, Maya said between contractions as paramedics loaded her onto a stretcher. The stress, I should have waited. Stop, Tyler said firmly, holding her hand. This isn't your fault. Babies come when they're ready. The ride to Manhattan Memorial felt endless. Contractions came every 5 minutes now, each stronger than the last. Maya squeezed Elijah's hand so hard she thought she might break his fingers, but he never complained. Dr. Patel met them at the emergency entrance, her calm demeanor a relief. Maya, we're taking you straight to labor and delivery. At 32 weeks, Grace's lungs might not be fully developed, so the NICU team is standing by. But she's been measuring strong. I'm optimistic. Will she be okay? Maya asked through tears. We'll do everything possible to make sure you both are. Labor progressed quickly. Maya was at 6 centimeters within an hour, unusual for a first baby. But Grace seemed determined to meet the world on her own schedule. Through the pain, Maya thought about timing. No press conference today. But maybe that was better. Let David think he'd caught a break, that the crisis was averted. It would make their next move even more devastating. Between contractions, she asked for her phone. I need to text Rebecca. She typed with shaking hands. Baby coming early. Push press conference to next week. Want to hold it at the hospital. Show them exactly what David's actions cost us. Rebecca's response was immediate. Brilliant. A mother with her premature baby is even more powerful. Focus on Grace. We'll handle everything else. 8 hours later, Dr. Patel smiled. It's time. On the next contraction, I need you to push. Maya pushed with everything she had, all her pain, rage, fear, and love channeled into bringing her daughter into the world. She pushed through the burn, through exhaustion, through the voice saying she couldn't do this. And then, at 2:47 in the afternoon, Grace Anderson Richardson entered the world with a strong, angry cry. She's small but mighty, Dr. Patel announced. 4 pounds, 3 ounces. Breathing on her own, excellent for 32 weeks. Strong heartbeat. Maya, she looks really good. They placed Grace on Maya's chest for one precious moment, tiny, perfect, with a shock of dark curls. Her daughter's eyes opened, dark and searching, and Maya fell completely in love. Hi, baby girl, she whispered through tears. I'm your mama. You're safe now. I promise I'll always keep you safe. Then the NICU team took Grace for evaluation, and Maya felt the loss like a physical ache. But Dr. Patel squeezed her shoulder. She's in excellent hands. They'll have her back to you soon. You did amazing. In the recovery room, her brothers surrounded her bed, all three with tears in their eyes. Tyler showed her a photo the NICU nurse had sent Grace in an incubator. Tiny but alert, her little hand wrapped around a nurse's finger. She's perfect, Marcus said, voice choked. Absolutely perfect. Officer Chun arrived unexpectedly. Mrs. Richardson, I apologize for the timing, but I wanted to update you personally. We've reviewed the traffic camera footage your brothers provided. Combined with your medical records and testimony from the building's receptionist, we have enough to press charges. Warrants are being issued for Victoria Cross for second-degree assault and for David Bennett for obstruction of justice. You're arresting them? Maya sat up straighter despite the pain. Warrants are being issued now. They'll both be arraigned within 48 hours. After Officer Chun left, Maya called Rebecca. Criminal charges change everything. We can file for emergency custody. No judge will grant access to a baby whose father is charged with actions that caused her premature birth. Do it, Maya said. File tomorrow. I don't want David anywhere near Grace. That evening, after being cleared to visit the NICU, a nurse wheeled Maya down in a wheelchair. The neonatal intensive care unit was quiet, filled with beeping monitors and the soft sounds of tiny babies fighting to survive. Grace was in an isolette near the window, bathed in warming lights. She's doing beautifully, the nurse said. breathing well, maintaining temperature. She even took a small bottle. She's a fighter. Maya reached through the isolet's portholes, touching her daughter's impossibly small hand. Grace's fingers wrapped around one of Maya's, gripping with surprising strength. "That's my girl," Maya whispered. "We're fighters, you and me. We don't give up. Your daddy and his girlfriend tried to hurt us, but we survived. We're going to do more than survive, baby. We're going to thrive." Her brothers appeared, all in required gowns, gathering around the isolet to stare at their tiny niece. "She looks like you," Elijah said softly. "Same nose, same chin. I call Godfather," Tyler announced. "We all call Godfather," Marcus countered. "She's getting 3, whether she likes it or not." As her brothers bickered good-naturedly, Maya felt something shift. She'd spent the last week feeling broken by what David and Victoria did. But looking at Grace, this tiny fighter who came early but strong, Maya realized she wasn't broken. She was transformed. She was a mother. And mothers didn't hide or cower. They fought for their children with everything they had. Tomorrow, Rebecca would file for emergency custody. David would be arrested. Next week, they'd hold that press conference. But tonight, in this quiet NICU with her brothers and her daughter, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. Real hope. Not just optimism, but certainty that they would win. That justice would prevail. That she and Grace would build a beautiful life together, free from David's shadow. "Welcome to the world, Grace Anderson Richardson," she whispered to her sleeping daughter. "Your mama's got you, always." 2 weeks after Grace's birth, Maya sat in Rebecca Morrison's conference room, her daughter sleeping peacefully in a carrier beside her. Grace had been released from the NICU 3 days earlier healthy, thriving, perfect. Rebecca spread documents across the table. The emergency custody order was granted. Judge Williams was particularly disturbed by the criminal charges. David has no visitation rights until after his trial concludes. Tyler leaned forward from across the table. The forensic accountant finished his full report. "David's financial situation is worse than we thought. Bennett Industries is insolvent. He's been running a Ponzi scheme for 3 years." "How much did he steal?" Marcus asked. "From Maya directly?" "About 17 million. "From investors?" "Nearly 200 million. The SEC is preparing charges. He's looking at 30 to 40 years in federal prison if convicted on everything." Maya absorbed this. The man she'd married, the father of her child, was going to prison. She felt no satisfaction, only a strange emptiness. Rebecca pulled out more papers. "Here's our divorce filing. We're seeking full dissolution citing adultery, fraud, and domestic endangerment. We're requesting 50% of all legitimate marital assets, plus reimbursement for the 17 million stolen, plus damages for emotional distress and medical costs from the premature birth. Total, $58 million, full custody of Grace, and a permanent restraining order." The number seemed impossible, abstract. Maya had never cared about David's money. She'd married him because she believed his lies about building a life together. What about Victoria? Maya asked. Her lawyer reached out. Apparently, David's refusing her call since his arrest. She wants to cut a deal testify against David in exchange for immunity and a cash settlement from you. Maya felt rage bubble up. She wants me to pay her after she tried to kill my baby? That was my response too, Rebecca said dryly. I told her lawyer where Victoria could shove her settlement. She's facing assault charges regardless. Let her stand trial. Over the next week, the public fallout intensified. David's company declared bankruptcy. The SEC filed formal complaints. The FBI raided Bennett Industries' footage, made every news broadcast. David went into hiding, his lawyers issuing statements that Maya's accusations were false. But no one believed them. Victoria tried selling her story to tabloids, but Rebecca immediately got an injunction preventing her from profiting while facing trial. Victoria disappeared from public view, her social media deleted. Her life in ruins. Maya moved into a brownstone that Marcus had purchased for her 4 stories in Brooklyn, heights with tall windows and a tiny garden where Grace could someday play. Her brothers helped furnish it, a nursery with soft gray walls, a master suite that felt like sanctuary, a home office where she could rebuild her event planning business. On a Tuesday afternoon, Rebecca called. David's agreed to settle. $50 million. Full custody to you with no visitation rights. Permanent restraining order. He keeps whatever the FBI doesn't seize. What about an apology? Rebecca laughed bitterly. There's a non-admission clause. He won't apologize or admit wrongdoing. Maya thought about it. Part of her wanted to drag David through a public trial. But another part, the tired mother part, just wanted it over. I'll accept, but with one modification. David has to publicly apologize to Grace. Not to me, to her. A statement acknowledging his actions led to her premature birth and that he failed as a father. I want it in writing, filed with the court. 2 days later, David's lawyers agreed. The apology arrived via notarized letter. I, David Michael Bennett, acknowledge that my actions caused substantial harm to Maya Anderson Richardson and resulted in the premature birth of our daughter, Grace. I failed as a husband and father. I waive all parental rights. I apologize for the pain I've caused. It wasn't warm or heartfelt, but it was an admission on record, permanent, that he'd been wrong. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks later in a brief hearing. Judge Williams reviewed everything, asked Maya 3 times if she was certain, then signed the decree. Just like that, after 4 years of marriage, Maya was single again with sole custody, $50 million, and a future entirely her own. The press conference with journalist Diana Sawyer aired a month later. Maya wore a simple navy dress, minimal makeup, her natural curls framing her face. She sat in her brown-stoned living room, Grace sleeping in a bassinet nearby. For an hour, she told her story. The fairy tale beginning, the devastating betrayal, the assault, the premature birth, the fight for justice. But she also talked about what came after, about her brothers who never left her side, about holding Grace for the first time, about rebuilding her business, about starting a foundation to help women escape abusive marriages. Do you regret marrying David? Diana asked near the end. Maya looked at Grace's bassinet. I regret he wasn't the man I thought he was. But I don't regret the marriage because it gave me Grace. Would I change things if I could? Yes. Would I trade Grace to make that change? Never. What would you say to other women going through similar situations? I'd say you're stronger than you think. That leaving is terrifying, but staying is worse. That you deserve better love that doesn't hurt, partnership that doesn't diminish you, respect that doesn't require you to shrink yourself. And I'd say you're not alone. There are people who will fight for you if you let them. The interview ended with footage of Maya playing with Grace in the brownstone's garden. Autumn sun casting clear, honest light. No filters, no softening, just truth. After it aired, Maya's phone exploded with messages. Women thanked her for her courage, for giving them strength to leave their own bad situations. A tech entrepreneur offered to fund her foundation. Entirely $10 million to establish resources for women escaping abusive marriages. Looks like you're starting a movement. Elijah commented. I just wanted justice for Grace and me, Maya said. I didn't expect this. That's what happens when you tell the truth, Tyler said. People see themselves in your story. They feel less alone. Marcus hugged her carefully. We're proud of you, Maya. You took the worst thing that ever happened and turned it into something that will help thousands. That takes incredible strength. 6 months after the divorce, Maya stood in her home office reviewing proposals for Anderson Events. Her company had grown from a one-woman operation to 8 employees with a waiting list of clients. Corporations wanted her because she represented resilience. Brides wanted her because she understood the difference between real love and pretty illusions. Grace, now 11 months old, played in a playpen nearby, babbling while trying to pull herself up. She was perfect, healthy, happy, completely unaware her father was serving 10 years in federal prison for fraud. David's trial had been swift. The evidence was overwhelming. He testified in his own defense, trying to claim he was a victim of aggressive accounting. The jury deliberated 3 hours before finding him guilty on all counts. Victoria had fared slightly better. Her assault charge was reduced to misdemeanor. Battery is part of a plea deal where she testified against David. She served 6 months in county jail, was released on probation, and left New York. Last Maya heard, Victoria worked retail in Ohio. Her dreams of luxury permanently derailed. Maya felt no satisfaction in their suffering, but no sympathy either. They'd made choices. They'd hurt people. Now they faced consequences. That was justice, not revenge. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. Monica, her assistant, stuck her head in. Your 2 o'clock is here. The Memorial Hospital Fundraiser Committee. The meeting was productive. The hospital where Grace spent her first 2 weeks wanted to expand their NICU, and they'd approached Maya to plan a major fundraising gala. She presented a proposal for a black tie event featuring testimonials from NICU families, live auction, entertainment to attract Manhattan's wealthiest donors. This is exactly what we hoped for, the committee chair said. You've done remarkable work rebuilding your life, Miss Richardson. It's inspiring. After they left, Maya stood by her window, looking at her small garden where spring flowers were beginning to bloom. Inspiring. People said that often now. Sometimes she felt like a fraud. Most days she was just trying to survive, to be a good mother, to build a business. She didn't feel inspiring. She felt tired, scared, uncertain. But then Grace would smile, or a client would thank her, or she'd see her bank balance and remember she'd done this herself. Rebuilt from nothing. Created something beautiful from ashes. Maybe that's what inspiring meant. Not feeling like a superhero, but getting up every day and doing the work anyway. That evening, Maya bundled Grace into her car seat and drove to Marcus's penthouse for family dinner. The city was beautiful in spring twilight, the sun setting in shades of blue and purple. Marcus's penthouse smelled of rosemary and garlic. Tyler and Elijah were already there, arguing about basketball while setting the table. Hey, no crying, Tyler said when he saw Maya's tears, taking Grace from her arms. Strict no crying policy. Unless Grace does it, then we scramble. I'm not crying. I'm just happy. Happy tears are allowed. Marcus called from the kitchen. Over dinner, perfectly cooked lamb with roasted vegetables. They talked about everything. Marcus's hospital research. Elijah's new art exhibition. Tyler's recent detective case. Maya told him about the NICU fundraiser and her growing business. You need more staff, Tyler said. 8 employees can't handle this volume. I know. I've been interviewing. It's just hard to trust people after everything. Not everyone is David or Victoria, Marcus said gently. Most people are good. You just married one of the bad ones. How do you know the difference? You trust your instincts, Elijah said. And you trust you're strong enough to survive if you're wrong again. You weren't weak for trusting David. You were human. He was wrong, not you. After dinner, Maya's phone rang. Unknown number, but something made her answer. Miss Richardson? This is Dr. James Carter from Metro Pediatrics. I treated Grace when she came home from NICU. Maya remembered him a kind doctor in his late 30s who'd been patient with her anxieties. Of course. Is everything okay? Yes, actually, I'm calling about the hospital fundraiser. I'm on the board. I wanted to reach out personally. That unit saved my sister's twins. It's personal for many of us. They talked for 20 minutes about the fundraiser, about Maya's vision, about Dr. Carter's ideas. He was thoughtful, passionate, clearly caring deeply about the cause. When they hung up, Maya realized she was smiling. Who was that? Marcus asked, clearly eavesdropping. The pediatrician. He's on the hospital board. We discussed the fundraiser. Uh-huh. And that smile is just about fundraising? Marcus, stop. Tyler and Elijah wandered over, interest piqued. Wait, is this a guy? It's a doctor I spoke to professionally about a professional event, Maya said firmly. But her brothers were grinning. You should ask him to coffee, Tyler suggested. I have no interest in dating. I have a baby, a business, a stable life. The last thing I need is a man complicating everything. Not all men are David, Marcus said. You deserve love, Maya. Real love that builds you up. Maybe someday, but not now. But driving home, Grace asleep in her car seat. Maya thought about Dr. Carter's voice, warm, kind, genuinely interested. How he'd treated Grace during those scary first weeks. Never making Maya feel stupid for questions. Always patient and respectful. She wasn't ready for dating. Wasn't ready to risk her heart again. But maybe it would be okay to have coffee. Professional coffee. To discuss the fundraiser. The next morning, she sent an email. Thank you for calling. I'd love to discuss the fundraiser in detail. Coffee this week? His response came within an hour. I'd love to. Thursday at 2? There's a cafe near the hospital. Thursday at 2. Professional. Just coffee. It didn't mean anything. Except it felt like something. Like possibility. Like maybe Maya was ready to trust again. Carefully. Cautiously. With boundaries firmly in place. What do you think, Grace? She asked while giving her daughter a bath. Is Mama being stupid or brave? Grace splashed water and giggled. Maybe she was both. Maybe that was okay. Maybe that's what healing looked like, risking yourself again, one small step at a time, even when terrified. Thursday, she'd have coffee. Just conversation. And maybe, if she was lucky, it would be the start of something good. Something healthy. Something real. But even if it wasn't, she'd still be okay. She'd proven she could survive anything. She'd built a life she loved, raised a beautiful daughter, started a foundation helping others. That was enough. That was everything. The coffee meeting with Dr. James Carter lasted 3 hours. They discussed the fundraiser for maybe 30 minutes before conversation drifted to other topics. Medicine and event planning. New York neighborhoods. Favorite books. James was easy to talk to, genuinely interested, refreshingly normal. No talk of billions or power. Just a pediatrician who loved his work and cared about charity. I should let you get back, Maya said finally, glancing at her watch. I've enjoyed this, James said, seeming genuine. Would you want to do it again? Maybe dinner? Maya's heart raced. This was a date. An actual date. She should say no. Focus on Grace and work and healing. Not complicate her life with romance. I'd like that, she heard herself say. But I need to be honest. I have a daughter. She's my priority. And I'm not interested in anything casual. I've been through too much to waste time on something not going somewhere real. James didn't flinch. I have a son. He's 7, lives with his mom in Jersey. We co-parent. Well, I understand priorities. And I'm not interested in casual either. I'm 39. If I'm dating someone, I want it because we might build something together, not just pass time. His honesty was disarming. Okay, dinner, but somewhere with good lighting and lots of people. And I'll drive myself. He smiled. Saturday, 7? I'll text the address. They met at an Ethiopian restaurant. The food was incredible. James told her about his practice, the kids he treated, how he wanted to be a doctor since age 8 when his little brother got sick. Maya told him about rebuilding Anderson Events, about the NICU fundraiser, about Grace's first walking attempts. They carefully didn't talk about David or the scandal. Maya knew James must have recognized her from news coverage, but he didn't pry, didn't treat her like a victim or curiosity. He treated her like a woman he wanted to know. On their third date, a walk through Prospect Park while their children played, James finally brought it up. I know what happened to you. The assault, the divorce, all of it. I want you to know I think standing up and fighting back was incredibly brave. But I'm not interested in you because of that. I'm interested because you're smart and funny and care about helping people. The fact you survived something terrible makes you strong, but it doesn't define you. At least not to me. Maya felt something loosen in her chest. Thank you. That means more than you know. I also want to be clear, James continued. I'm not David. I won't cheat. I won't lie. I won't ever hurt you. I understand trusting again is hard. So I'm willing to go slow, to earn your trust, to prove not all men are like him. That's a lot to promise. It's not a promise. It's just who I am. My parents were married 42 years before my dad died. They showed me what real partnership looks like. Respect, communication, equality. That's what I want. Maya looked at him, really looked. James was handsome in an understated way, with kind eyes and an easy smile. Successful but not obsessed with status. A good father. She could see it in how he interacted with his son. He was offering something David never had. Honesty, respect, real partnership. I'm interested, she said. But I'm also terrified. I need to go slow. Grace has to come first. I understand. If we move forward, I'd never try to replace her father. I'd just be James, someone who cares about both of you. Over the next 3 months, Maya and James dated carefully, intentionally. Once or twice weekly, always in public, always with clear boundaries. He met her brothers, who grilled him mercilessly but ultimately approved. He's not flashy, but he's solid, Elijah pronounced. And he looks at you like you hung the moon. James introduced Maya to his son, Lucas. The boy was delightful, curious, talkative, immediately smitten with baby Grace. They had dinners together, figuring out how to be something like a family. Meanwhile, Anderson Events continued growing. The NICU fundraiser was a massive success, raising over $5 million. Maya's foundation officially launched, providing legal assistance, financial counseling, and housing support to women across New York. On Grace's first birthday, Maya threw a small party in her brownstone's garden. Her brothers came. James came with Lucas. Monicam's staff came. Dr. Patel came. Even Officer Chun stopped by Dodd as Maya watched Grace smash birthday cake. Surrounded by people who loved them, she felt overwhelming gratitude. A year ago, she'd been fighting for Grace's life. Her marriage destroyed, her future uncertain. Now she had a thriving business, beautiful home, healthy daughter, and a man who treated her with respect and kindness. What are you thinking? James asked, coming to stand beside her. How different everything is from a year ago. How much has changed? Do you miss any of it? The old life? Maya considered seriously. I miss the innocence of believing David was good. I miss feeling safe. But I don't miss the marriage itself, because it was built on lies. And I definitely don't miss who I was then, naive, too trusting, willing to shrink myself. Who are you now? Someone who knows her own strength. Someone who won't settle for less than she deserves. Someone who can survive anything and still find joy. She looked at him. Someone ready to try again, carefully with someone worth the risk. James took her hand. I promise to be worth it. That night, after everyone left and Grace slept, Maya sat in her office, updating business plans. Anderson Events was expanding. The foundation was launching a hotline and shelter. Her life was full, purposeful. Her phone buzzed with a news alert. Richard Bennett denied early release. He'd serve his full 10-year sentence. Maya felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, not pity. David was simply irrelevant, now a footnote in her story, the villain she'd overcome. She closed the article and opened photos instead. Grace's first year. Grace in NECU. Grace coming home. Grace's first smile. Grace at her birthday party. This was Maya's real story. Not the betrayal or assault or divorce. Those things happened, shaped her, but didn't define her. What defined her was what came after. The strength she found. The life she built. The love she learned to accept again. Her phone buzzed with a text from James. Lucas won't stop talking about Grace. When can we see you again? I want to too. Maya smiled, typing, brunch tomorrow? My place. I'll make pancakes. His response was immediate. Perfect. Thank you for letting us be part of your life. Thank you for making it better, she replied. And it was true. James made her life better. So had her brothers, friends, work, foundation. So had Grace, the unexpected blessing born from tragedy. Together, they created something beautiful. Not a life without pain or scars, but one rich with purpose, connection, and hope. Real hope. The kind that sustained through dark times and made you believe in bright futures. The kind Maya had almost lost but found again stronger, deeper than before. She closed her laptop and checked on Grace one more time. Her daughter slept peacefully, one tiny hand curled under her chin. Thank you for making me a mother, Maya whispered. Thank you for giving me reason to fight. Thank you for being the best thing that ever happened to me. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new joys. But tonight, in this quiet brownstone filled with evidence of her rebuilt life, Maya Anderson Richardson felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Complete. Genuine, earned peace. And it was beautiful. 2 years after Grace's birth, Maya stood in the ballroom of Manhattan's Grand Hotel, surveying her work. The annual NICU fundraiser had become the city's premier charity event, attracting celebrities, business leaders, philanthropists nationwide. This year, they'd already raised $12 million before doors opened. You look proud, James said, placing a gentle hand on her back. You should be. This is incredible. They'd been together 18 months, taking things slow but steady. James had moved into the brownstone 3 months ago, the transition surprisingly smooth. Lucas and Grace were inseparable, already acting like real siblings despite the age gap. I am proud, Maya admitted. 2 years ago, I was in that NICU, terrified Grace wouldn't survive. Now we're raising money to help other families. It feels like closing a circle. The ballroom filled with guests. Maya worked the room professionally, greeting donors, thanking sponsors, ensuring every detail was perfect. Anderson Events had grown to 15 employees with offices in Manhattan and Brooklyn, specializing in high-end charity events and weddings. Her brothers arrived together, all in tuxedos. Marcus brought his girlfriend, a fellow surgeon. Elijah came solo. Tyler brought his wife, a corporate lawyer who'd helped with foundation legal work. Look at this, Marcus said, gesturing to the packed room. You did this. Our little sister, who used to plan backyard parties, is now running the most successful event company in New York and a foundation that's helped over 300 women. Don't forget that part. Tyler added. I don't forget any of it, Maya said. I couldn't have done this without you three. We know, Elijah said. But you did the actual work. We just provided support. The program began with testimonials from NICU families' parents whose babies survived against impossible odds. Maya had chosen to share her story again, standing on stage with video playing behind her of Grace's journey from tiny premature baby to healthy, thriving toddler. 2 years ago, my daughter Grace was born at 32 weeks, weighing just over 4 pounds, Maya said into the microphone, voice steady. She came early because of trauma I endured. The stress caused premature labor, but the doctors and nurses in the NICU saved her life. They gave me back my daughter, my joy, my hope. The video showed Grace now, a beautiful 2-year-old with curly hair and infectious laugh, running through parks, playing with Lucas, blowing out birthday candles. Healthy, happy, perfect. I'm not just here as an event planner tonight, Maya continued. I'm here as a mother who understands what it's like to sit beside an Isolette, terrified and powerless. I'm here to say this work matters. Your donations save lives, real lives, babies who will grow up to change the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for giving families like mine the gift of hope. The standing ovation lasted 2 full minutes. Maya stepped off stage to find James waiting with Grace in his arms. The toddler reached for her mama, and Maya held her close. Mama cry? Grace asked, patting Maya's face. Happy tears, baby. Mama's just happy. The event exceeded their goal by 3 million. As the evening wound down, Maya found a quiet moment on the hotel's terrace, looking out at the Manhattan skyline sparkling in autumn air. Mind if I join you? Maya turned to find an older woman approaching someone she didn't recognize. Of course. Did you enjoy the event? It was beautiful. My granddaughter was in the NICU where your daughter stayed. She's 5 now, healthy, bossy, absolutely perfect. The woman smiled. I wanted to thank you personally. When you told your story 2 years ago, the press conference, the interviews, it helped my daughter. She was in an abusive marriage. Watching you stand up and fight gave her courage to leave. She's safe now. We're all safe. I wanted you to know what you did mattered. Not just for you, but for so many of us. Maya felt tears well up. Thank you for telling me that. It makes a difference. You make a difference. The woman squeezed Maya's hand and left. James found her minutes later. Everything okay? More than okay. I think I finally understand why all this happened. Why? So I could help others. Show them survival is possible. That justice exists. That you can build beautiful life after your world falls apart. I hated David for what he did. Part of me still does. But if none of it had happened, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have Grace. I wouldn't have the foundation. I wouldn't have you. That's a generous way to view trauma, James said carefully. Maybe, but I'm done being angry. Anger served its purpose, fueled my fight. But now I just want to be happy. To raise Grace, build Anderson events, help women through the foundation. Be with you. That's not forgetting what happened. It's choosing not to let it define me anymore. James pulled her close. Through the terrace windows, she could see her brothers talking. Monica coordinating cleanup. Grace playing with Lucas. This was her life now. Built from ruins, stronger than before. Beautiful in its authenticity. No pretense, no lies, no facade. Just real people, real love, real purpose. Her phone buzzed with a news alert. David Bennett denied parole, will serve full sentence. Maya read briefly. David had applied for early parole, claiming rehabilitation. The board denied him unanimously, noting lack of genuine accountability. He'd remain in prison another 8 years. She felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication. She'd moved on years ago, building a life so full that David's fate was irrelevant. She deleted the alert without reading further. Ready to go home? James asked. Yes, let's go home. They gathered their family, Grace and Lucas, her 3 brothers and partners, and left together. The drive to Brooklyn was filled with chatter and laughter, the girls singing nonsense songs, adults recapping the night's success at the brownstone. They put both girls to bed together, where they'd set up Lucas's bed for sleepovers. The children held hands as they drifted off. Downstairs, her brothers raided her kitchen. Marcus made coffee. Elijah found leftover cake. Tyler pulled up foundation expansion projections. We could open a second location, Tyler explained. Boston or Philadelphia. The model's working. That's tomorrow's conversation, Maya said, stealing Elijah's cake. Tonight, I just want to enjoy this all of us together, healthy and happy. They stayed up late talking, laughing, sharing stories. Around midnight, her brothers left, promising Sunday brunch, a tradition maintained for 2 years. Alone finally, Maya and James sat in the living room, the house quiet except for the city's gentle hum. Do you ever think about what life would be like if you'd never met David? James asked. Maya considered. Sometimes. I'd probably still run my small business. I wouldn't have Grace, wouldn't have met you, wouldn't have started the foundation. So no, I don't wish I'd never met him. I just wish he'd been a better person. Do you think you've forgiven him? No, I don't think I'll ever forgive him. But I've accepted it, moved past it, and I've decided the best revenge isn't destruction, it's living well. Building something beautiful from the ashes he left. He wanted to break me. Instead, I'm thriving. That's victory enough. James took her hand. I have something to ask you. Maya's heart skipped. Okay, I know we've been taking things slow. I know you have every reason to be cautious. But Maya, I love you. I love Grace. I love the life we're building. And I want to make it official. Not because I need a ring or certificate, but because I want the world to know you're my partner, my equal, my choice every day for the rest of our lives. He pulled a small box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a simple, elegant diamond ring. Will you marry me? Maya looked at the ring, then at James's face, hopeful, nervous, completely sincere. She thought about trust, about risk, about courage to try again after being broken. She thought about Grace growing up with healthy love instead of toxic dysfunction. About Lucas and how they'd already become family. Yes, she said, and the word felt like flying. Yes, I'll marry you. They kissed, not desperate or dramatic, but gentle, genuine, full of promise. This was real love. Not grand gestures or expensive gifts. Just steady commitment, mutual respect, daily choice to build something together. Later, lying in bed with James asleep beside her, Maya reflected on her journey. From the woman who'd fallen down those stairs to who she was now, successful businesswoman, dedicated mother, philanthropist, someone brave enough to love again. She'd won. Not through destroying David or Victoria, they destroyed themselves, but by refusing to stay down. By fighting for justice, by rebuilding her life into something better than before. She'd proven survival wasn't just enduring. It was transformation. Taking pain and turning it into purpose. Showing the world and yourself you're stronger than whatever tried to break you. Grace slept peacefully in the next room. James slept beside her. Her brothers were a phone call away. Her business thrived. Her foundation helped hundreds. Her life was full of love, meaning, joy. This was victory. Not loud or flashy. Just real. Just true. Just hers. The moral. True strength isn't measured by never falling. It's measured by how you rise after being knocked down. When faced with betrayal and cruelty, the most powerful response isn't revenge, but resilience. Justice matters. Truth matters, but what matters most is refusing to let those who hurt you define who you become. Surround yourself with people who genuinely love you. Fight for what's right, and never be afraid to start over. The life you build from ashes can be more beautiful than anything that came before, because it's built on truth, earned through courage, and sustained by real love. Your past doesn't define your future. Your response to it does.